I turned over in bed and reached for my phone.
Hello? Is this Stephanie?
Yes, do you have any idea what time it is?
Sorry, this is an emergency. See, your uncle has vanished and left you everything.
I hung up immediately. It was obviously a prank call. I didn't even have an uncle. I didn't have any family at all. Me being an orphan is why I was so surprised that a visitor asked for me at the orphanage the next day. I looked over at a tall butler with a stern face.
We need to talk about your inheritance, child.
I followed him into a limo parked outside to meet with a lawyer. And just like that, I went from a poor orphan to a billionaire. Is this an airport?
No, child. This is your new house.
House was a bit of an understatement. The manor had over 400 rooms. I had to use a GPS just to get around the place. Luckily, I wasn't alone. My 5 cousins, my uncle's children, were there to help me out. The food was actually the hardest thing to get used to. At my first meal with the whole family, I was so hungry. I finished an entire bowl of what I thought was soup. When I looked up, everyone stared at me with disgust and horror. Stephanie, that was the fancy food for my kitten. I ran to the bathroom, and when I came back, I heard them talking about me. That's the girl Daddy gave his inheritance to? She smells like a peasant. Must be nice. She's the one who pays the bills around here now. I nearly cried. I was so excited to have a family, but to them, I was just a cash cow. They weren't the only ones who treated me differently because of my new money. My phone was blowing up with texts from the orphanage asking if the rumors were true. Ever since people had seen me set foot in the limo, they were spamming me with favors asking for new TVs and video games. Not a single person bothered to ask me what had actually happened. In fact, there was only one person who seemed to care about me at all.
What's wrong, young mistress?
Why did my uncle do this to me?
He did it for you.
He didn't even know me. Miles led me up a dark corridor to a giant room with a huge canopy bed and a large portrait of a woman who looked just like me.
After your mother's disappearance, he couldn't bring himself to see you. You had a hard life. You having all this money is what he would have wanted.
Well, I was happy with my old life.
You never had to leave it, miss.
Just like that, I was on a train back to the orphanage. Despite all the Gucci jackets and Coach bags I now had at home, I decided to just be me. All the other orphans were waiting to greet me. Once I stepped out and they saw that I was wearing poor clothes, the crowd disappeared. Hey, where are you all going?
We thought you were rich.
I'd never felt so alone. I decided I would never trust anyone again and I'd keep my wealth a secret. Plus, I didn't want anyone to take advantage of me. So hiding my wealth was the best thing to do.
Are you sure you don't want to go to a private high school? I know of a great prep school in London.
No, thank you, Miles. I just want to be normal. Plus, I can visit you every week. Oh no, I'm late for school.
Oh no, you're not.
Okay, so getting dropped off at school on my first day in a helicopter wasn't the best way to hide my money. By second period, everyone was asking me questions. No one was more intrigued than Eric.
Those oil tycoon guys use that helicopter. How do you know them?
Oh, I'm actually the maid. Yeah, the maid.
Well, you must be a great maid for that kind of special treatment.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Wow, pretty and modest.
I blushed so hard. We had every class together and we hung out nearly every day. Turns out, my uncle and Eric's father were old buddies. One time, I even ran into him at the steps of the mansion.
Stephanie, what a surprise. They let the help use the front door?
Oh, yes, very kind. He pulled me in with a serious face.
Look, you know I like you, but if my father finds out, well, we need to keep us a secret.
He talked about how romantic it was for him to be dating a maid, just like in a love story. Honestly, he was kind of right. It was thrilling to run around and hide, and I was grateful enough that my family played along with my charade. But my secret wasn't going to stay quiet for long. One day, I heard a loud noise while I was sitting in class. I saw Miles with 2 bodyguards. Miles was screaming and calling my name. He said to the teacher that I needed to leave class now. I left feeling really embarrassed and everyone was staring at me. What are you doing?
Miss, we checked your calendar and it's about to be that time of the month. And we do believe you are ill-prepared.
What? Let go of me.
We just want to save you from embarrassment.
He handed me a small box and said,
Everything is under control now, ma'am.
What the? When I got back to the classroom, I panicked and told them it was maid work. Oh, it was just an emergency kidnapping drill we do. The time I met Eric for lunch, there were already some other rumors.
Steph, what happened? They say you stole a Da Vinci painting from the mansion. That's why you were arrested in class.
It was just a drill, and that painting isn't even that beautiful.
A drill for a maid?
Eric wasn't dumb, and that's why I decided to show him my mansion. So, at the front door, I said, Eric, there's something I need to tell you.
Anything, my love.
I leaned over and kissed him. We don't have to be a secret anymore. He pushed me away.
Yeah, and while I'm flattered you're obsessed with me, dating a maid isn't really good for my image.
He told me not to mistake my need for money and his desperation for a fling with love. What? Just then, Miles opened the door.
Oh, hello, mistress. Mistress?
The look of shock and surprise on Eric's face was crazy. Yeah, Eric, I don't think you understand. This place is mine. Consider us done. Miles slammed the door right in his shocked face. I was heartbroken and cried for hours. Little did I know, the worst was yet to come. Eric didn't take the rejection so well. Or at all, really.
Hey, babe.
Eric, we're done. Everyone was staring at us. I dragged Eric into the hallway for some privacy.
We should get back together, or maybe everyone will find out the truth, rich girl.
My mouth dropped open in shock. Was he blackmailing me?
Look, I already told my dad we were dating, and he was thrilled. This is how rich people do their business. Now everyone is happy. I get the perfect wife, and you get the romance you were so desperate for yesterday.
Let me assure you, there was nothing romantic about us being together. I couldn't believe I agreed to it. How stupid. He made us hold hands in public and wear matching clothes. He made me get him an internship at my cousin's firm and everything. After all his criticizing and telling me to smile and not embarrass him, I found out he was dating one of the other girls at school. She texted him, I love you, babe, call me tonight, while he was at my house. Wait, you're seeing other girls? I thought I was your perfect wife.
For my father, maybe. But you're not being passionate at all.
What if I dated another guy?
Well, I'm the one with the dirt on you, so I guess you're stuck with me.
The next day at recess, a pretty blonde girl came over and sat next to him after kissing him on the cheek with a, hey you. Then she looked at me like I was a cockroach. Who is she and what is she doing here?
Oh, don't mind her. She's just a loser who's drooling over me all the time. I think she's a bit of a gold digger.
How could he just humiliate me like that in front of everybody? I was so sick of all of this. I went home and ran out into the garden and cried because I felt so hopeless. I stuffed my face with comfort food and sobbed under the little bridge. Soon after, Eric found me there and started yelling at me.
This is all your fault, you know. If you want me to stop dating other girls, maybe you should be a better girlfriend.
He leaned in for a kiss and I was struggling to pull away.
I don't think the lady wants a kiss.
I looked up to see the most handsome guy in the whole world. Without warning, the guy punched Eric right in the jaw.
I said, the lady doesn't seem like she wants a kiss.
Eric charged at him, and before I knew it, the two were tackling each other on the bridge. The stranger managed to push Eric off, but not before Eric had ripped off his shirt sleeve.
You'll be hearing from my lawyer.
Eric fell over a couple of times as he ran away like a scared little mouse. Thank you. Who are you?
I'm just the gardener here. I just get a little defensive when I see pretty girls dealing with jerks.
I hope you're not hurt.
Nah, I'm fine. Ruined my favorite t-shirt, though.
I got so caught up in the moment that I leaned in for a kiss. He pushed me away and I fell into the mud. Then he ran away. Great move, Steph. Now that Eric was running around my family home, I spent most of my time at the orphanage. One day when I was studying hard in my room, I heard a knock on the door. It was Adam. How did you find me?
Oh, I asked Miles for your info, and he graciously told me your address.
Did he tell you anything else?
Only that you seemed like a sweet girl, and I should apologize.
So he didn't know anything about me being rich. I thought I messed everything up. I'm so sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I'm just shy. Here, I brought you something to eat as an apology.
What? This place is expensive.
It's nothing. I would do anything for you to forgive me.
He blushed super hard and looked away. He was so cute and shy. The best part? He thought I was the poor one. I know it's lying, but I just didn't want to take the chance that everything would change. Before our date one evening, Adam came by and said there was something he wanted to tell me.
There's something I haven't been honest about. See, I'm an orphan too. That's why I never talk about my parents. It's very hard for me.
As we sat and talked about it, I felt even closer to him because of this thing we had in common. After a while, he took something out from his coat pocket and said he had a present for me. He asked me to turn around and clasped a beautiful antique necklace around my neck. I gasped when I looked at it. I'd admired it in the window of an antique shop the other day when we were walking by, and he'd just gone and bought it. It must have cost him a fortune. You shouldn't have.
Why not? You deserve pretty things, Steph. And I'll always keep the other half of this pendant with me.
I had a mansion full of pretty things, but nothing was as special as this. Well, I've got something for you too. I offered him a few t-shirts my cousin had helped me pick out the other day. I smiled and said it was to make up for the one that was ruined in the fight.
Steph, these seem like really expensive brands. Where did you get the money to buy them?
Oh, God, I hadn't seen this coming. I shouldn't have shopped from the same store as my spoiled cousins do. I guess there's something I haven't been totally honest about either. I told him all about how I was poor, but now I was actually super rich. I just didn't want people to know and take advantage of me. I just wanted to be me. Adam looked betrayed. He just looked at me and said,
"And you thought I'd take advantage of you?"
He seemed really hurt. Well, maybe.
I thought you knew I loved you.
Adam got up and said,
"Please, just take care of yourself. I don't think you should contact me anymore."
And he left, just like that. I was devastated. I cried all night and decided to go back to the mansion and mourn my relationship luxuriously. Miles insisted it would be better that way. Miles had also had some devastating news that was going to bring my pain to a new level. I have to get married?
It was in the legal documents. I'm surprised you missed them.
But I just broke up with Adam.
Well, better now before you needed to.
What's that supposed to mean? Miles explained how, as a rich person, marriage was not about love. My cousins were already making plans to break Adam and I up. He wasn't husband material. In fact, my suitor was planning to arrive today. When do I have to get married? Suddenly, I heard Adam's broken voice.
I should have known. I'm quitting, Miles.
I looked up to see Adam crying. He'd overheard what I'd said, but he didn't understand the whole thing. I ran after him as he dashed out of the room. I begged him to wait, but he said,
"No, Steph, we aren't meant to be with each other. I should have known. I'm not good enough for you. Have a great life."
As he turned to leave, he threw something on the floor. It was the other half of my necklace. He just ran away, and I couldn't stop crying my heart out. Just then, Eric appeared and handed me a tissue.
"Miss me, babe?"
I just glared at him.
"That's why I don't interact with commoners. They're brutes."
"What are you doing here?"
"Didn't your cousins tell you? I'm your fiancé."
I tried to run away from him, but he grabbed my arm. He told me he was sorry, and if he knew who I was, he would have treated me better.
You don't get it, do you? I'm under a lot of pressure from my parents to marry someone wealthy.
I was not hearing it, at first at least. My wounds were fresh from the breakup, but he didn't make it easy to reject him.
"I brought you a present, my turtle dove."
"Is that?"
"Of course. A baby elephant."
A baby elephant wasn't even the most extravagant gift he gave me. He bought me a private Justin Bieber concert, a solid gold statue of instant noodles, and my very own village. I felt bad, but the whole time he was courting me, I was spamming Adam's phone. I left him about 1,000 messages, and he didn't respond to me on anything. It was time I moved on. If I wanted my inheritance, well, there are worse guys I could be in an arranged marriage with.
Will you marry me?
Yes. Our wedding was not a private affair. Every TV network, newspaper, and billboard in town had a story about my wedding. It was all happening less than a week after the official proposal. It really was a fairy tale wedding. I should have been happy, right? When everyone saw me walking down the aisle, they made comments about my happy tears. In reality, I was crying because I was devastated.
You look stunning, Stephanie. I love you.
I guess I'll learn to love you. Right when we were about to say I do and lean in for a kiss, the unthinkable happened.
Stop the wedding. You?
Oh, Adam. He ran up and kissed me while we were on live TV. Eric and all my cousins positively fainted.
Look, I'm sorry,
Shut up and kiss me again. There was a wedding that day, but it wasn't between an heiress and a spoiled brat. It was between two best friends. Lily, sweetie, are you still mad at Mommy? I turned away and continued to draw on the paper in front of me. That's beautiful work, sweetie. You're your mama's kid. I kept working. Mom, just leave me alone. I'm sorry, darling. I can't explain. I'll do whatever it takes to protect you. Grown-ups were so lame. They were always crying and saying the weirdest things. As Mom left the room, she turned to Mandy, my oldest sister. Take care of Lily for me while I'm gone, okay? As soon as I heard Mom leave, I said to Mandy, I'm going to go watch TV.
Go wherever you want to. I hope you don't come back.
Wherever? Great. Mom said she couldn't take me to Susie's party because I was too small to go out. But I was 6 years old. I was almost a grown-up. I could go out by myself. When I got outside, I asked an old woman standing by the side of the road, do you know Susie's house? It's got a pink gate. She said she did and she could take me there. But the house she took me to had a purple gate. Don't be silly. This is purple. I told you, Susie has a pink gate. I was starting to get angry now. Grown-ups could be so dumb sometimes. I turned to leave when suddenly the woman picked me up and rushed inside. I started to scream, but there was no one around. She put me in a dark room and said if I keep quiet, she'd give me ice cream. I don't want it. I want my mommy.
Should have thought about that before. Now I'm your mama. She'll never find you.
I started to cry. Just then, the door of the house flew open and someone yelled,
Keep your filthy hands away from my girl.
I started to jump up and down with joy. It was Mom. As the woman was taken away, my mom hugged me. How did you find me, Mommy? I was so scared. She said you'd never find me. She hugged me again and said,
I'll always be able to find my little girl. I put a special little chip in her brain that tells me everything about her, so I never lose her.
Hi, my name is Lily, and if you think you have an overprotective mom, wait till you meet mine. She can literally read my mind and can always track me down. She said that I'm too beautiful and can't go around by myself. When I was younger, I didn't know what that even meant. But before I continue, click like and subscribe. By the time I was 10, I had good grades in school and was the smartest kid in class. I could read books far above my age group, and I was better at math than Mandy. But my real passion was like my mom's, art. One day, my art teacher invited me to her house, saying she had some old canvases and paints I could use. I had just started working when the door burst open and Mom barged in, looking like a loony. Just what do you think you're trying to do with my child? You think I won't find her? Your little Lily is a prodigy. She's another Picasso, a Michelangelo. Keep your trap shut. I know you were trying to kidnap my kid. As Mom dragged me home, I couldn't help wondering how she even knew where I was. But then I remembered how Mom had once said she'd put a chip in my brain so she could always find me. That's how. The next day, we had a new teacher. And on top of that, Mom forced Mandy to join my class. Mandy was furious. I can't believe I have to go down a class just to babysit this brat, Mom. It's not fair. But Mom couldn't care less. You know your sister is special. You absolutely have to look after her. Mandy glared at me. I wish you'd just disappear. Yeah, well, I wish you'd disappear too. Years passed, and every day Mandy had a new reason to be mad at me. She kept picking fights for the smallest things. If I made a good piece of art, Mandy yelled at me and called me a loser. In fact, sometimes she yelled at me if she could hear me breathe. It's not my fault what Mom decides. One day soon after I turned 14, Mandy threw a particularly horrible tantrum when Mom said she had to go somewhere, and Mandy had to stay back to watch me. You honestly can't expect me to cancel my date to watch her again. When Mom came back that evening, Mandy was still in a really bad mood. So she said she'd take us out for pizza and ice cream. We'll spend some time as a family. This is bad. No. Just then the pizza was served, but Mom slid under the table and said, We have to go, right now. But Mom, the pizza. Not a word, you two. Outside, now. As soon as she parked the car at home, she ordered us to go to our rooms and pack up. We're moving. But why, Mom? She never replied. Before the night was over, we were on the road, driving to God knows where. I didn't even get time to pack my art supplies. When I was younger, I thought my mom was cool, but now that I was 14, she was starting to get on my nerves. In our new city, Mom moved us to a house in an almost empty neighborhood. There was just one other family and they lived across the road from us. When the truck was unloading our stuff, a boy came out of the house. He stood there, staring at me, and then he yelled,
"I'm sure you're not from this town because you're the most beautiful girl I've ever met."
I felt blood rushing to my face, but Mom immediately pulled me inside and said, "Maybe we should have tinted windows." Mom, it's bad enough I have to share a room with Mandy in this weird place. I can't live in a black-windowed house. I have rights. Where's Mandy? Curious to know what she was up to, I snuck to our room. The door was slightly open. I peeked inside and gasped. She was looking at a picture and crying.
"I miss you so much, my love. I have no one here."
Watching her cry like that broke my heart. I threw the door open and rushed to her. "Don't say that, Mandy. You have me." Truth be told, I expected Mandy to throw me out of the room for spying on her, but instead she hugged me and said, "I know, and you'll always have me, Lil." And then, just like that, my sister and I were best friends. When school started, I was excited. At least now I had an excuse to get out of the house. Mandy spent hours getting dressed because she was determined to be one of the cool kids. "I'm going to stun them all, baby sis." The minute we walked in, someone whistled. I grinned at Mandy. Clearly, her effort was not wasted, but she looked angry. I was confused until I heard someone say, "The blonde girl is gorgeous." I was? Since when? But throughout the week, it became clearer that everyone thought I was beautiful. Add to the fact that everyone who saw my art wanted me to do a piece for them, and before I knew it, I was hanging out with the popular kids. By the end of the week, I'd been invited to 4 parties, even to the one the captain of the football team was throwing. You don't just make art. You are art. I need this masterpiece in my house. I was thrilled. I couldn't wait to go. All the guys were already telling me I had to dance with them. There was just one problem, asking Mom. That night over dinner, I waited for the right moment to bring it up when suddenly Mom said, "These parties are useless. You can't go." My jaw dropped. Every time I started to think my chip theory was crazy, she just convinced me it wasn't. How else could she know my thoughts? "She didn't say anything about a party, Mom," Mandy said. "Oh, she doesn't need to say anything. I know." I looked over at Mandy in shock, and she looked just as taken aback as me. That night as we lay in bed, Mandy said, "It's unfair how she's so strict with you. I don't know why she hates you." "I wish she didn't," I said sadly. "Hey, you know what? If you want, we can sneak out." "What, really?" "Yeah, it'll be a ball. All the jocks will be there. And it's so great that the captain of the football team wants to dance with you." I was thrilled. I promised her I'd never tell Mom she helped me. The next day, the 2 of us got to the party when it was in full swing. Mandy immediately disappeared into the crowd. Everybody started to hover around, waiting to dance with me. It was as if the whole school had been waiting for me to show up before the party actually started. After a while, I was so tired, I absolutely had to sit down. That's when I saw him. He was tall and he was wearing a green shirt. Even from across the room, I felt his intense gaze. And when our eyes met, he smiled. I never knew a smile could make my heart race the way his did. I smiled back and he started to make his way to me. I waited with my breath caught in my throat. I just knew I was about to fall in love. "Hi, But before he could complete his sentence, the door flew open. "Lily, Lily, I know you're here. You are grounded for as long as you live." I gasped. "Oh no, Mom!" I was so mortified that I tried to duck under a table, but she knew exactly where to look for me. When I got home, I was shocked to see Mandy already there. She looked at me apologetically and whispered, "I'm sorry." As soon as I saw Mom there, I just ran. I don't know how she knew. Mom started to yell at us. Me for sneaking out and Mandy for not watching over me. If I've told you once, I've told you a billion times. I wanted Mom to admit that she was a psycho who'd put a chip in my brain. "How did you know?" "What? How did you know where I was?" "Don't ask questions, Lily. Just go to your room. You're grounded." I had to put a stop to this. I couldn't let Mom control me forever. There was only one person I could turn to, Mandy. That night, I told her my suspicions, and all she said was, "I don't know, kiddo. Mom really does seem to have it out for you." I'd be careful if I were you. You have to help me, Mandy. I have to go see a neurologist and get this thing out of my head. Mandy promised that we'd go next time Mom was out of town or we had a chance to sneak out. The next day in school, I was a girl on a mission. I had to find the guy in the green shirt. I checked every nook and cranny. I went around asking everybody, "Did you see the guy in green yesterday?" It turned out that a lot of people were wearing green. Why did Mom have to come before I caught his name? By the end of the day, I was so disappointed that I gave up and was wandering aimlessly around the school when I saw the art room. Immediately, I made my way to it. As I set up a canvas, I once again began to drift into my universe of colors.
Hey there, I thought I might find you here.
I broke out of my reverie and gasped. It was him. My heart immediately began to thump like 100 drummers were banging away on it. You were looking for me? He smiled and said,
Well, a little birdie told me that the most beautiful girl in school was looking for someone in a green shirt. I thought I might be the lucky winner. Am I?
I looked at the ground and nodded. In a flash, he was next to me.
Why?
I wanted to ask you out. He stepped closer to me, and I gasped. He came closer and closer till his face was just an inch from mine.
I'd love to go on a date with you.
With that, he turned to leave, and I breathed a sigh of relief. I hadn't even known I was holding my breath. As he reached the door, he turned and said,
Oh, and in case you were wondering, Lily, my name is Eric.
When I got home that day, I was still flustered, and my heartbeat would not slow down. I kept thinking only one thing, Eric, Eric, Eric. Suddenly, Mom barged into my room and she yelled, Snap out of it. What? This boy. Eric, just stay away from him. Boys only bring trouble. I gasped, and then suddenly, I felt furious. You aren't the boss of me, and you can't control my life forever. I'm going to date whoever I want to. Don't make me do something I don't want to. The next few days went by in a magical haze of Eric, who was spending every minute of school time with me. I'd never felt happier in my life. And then one day, Mom announced that she was going to an art auction to sell some of her work. She would be gone for the whole day. This meant I could spend the whole day with Eric. We decided to visit a nearby town that was famous for its art museums. The minute Mom left, so did we. For once, I was sure I was safe from Mom, but I was so wrong. As we wandered around seeing museum after museum, Eric suddenly stopped and told me he had a small gift for me. Of course, I wondered what it could be and gasped when I saw it. It was a gorgeous hairpin. One look was enough to know it would have cost a fortune.
I'm not much good at art myself, but my grandma was. This was hers. She'd have loved you and would have wanted you to have this.
Oh, Eric, it's lovely. And then I couldn't stop myself. I leaned in to kiss him, and what a kiss it was. I felt like the brightest colors had sprung up all around us. Just then, I felt someone pull me away. What are you doing? Are you trying to take my daughter away? Did they send you?
Who? What? No one sent me.
But Mom wasn't listening. Her eyes were glazed over and full of panic as she tried to drag me away. Let go, Mom. I don't want to go anywhere with you. As soon as we got home, Mom yelled for Mandy. Pack up, Mandy. We're moving. What? No, I'm not going anywhere with you. You're crazy. I know you've put a chip in my brain, but I'm done letting you ruin my life. Don't be stupid, Lily. There's no chip. I turned to see Mandy standing at the bottom of the stairs, and Mom looked horrified. Mandy? No, you can't. Watch me, Mom. I'm just as sick and tired of you as she is. You promised me we wouldn't move as long as I told you. Told her what? What are you talking about? She's been using me to spy on you all your life. There was never any chip. The last time we moved, she said if I was nice to you and told her everything, we could stay. I was stunned. Why would you do this, Mom? Mom stood speechless, and Mandy said she'd wondered that too. I got so tired of Mom acting crazy that I snooped around in her papers and found everything. Will you tell her, Mom? Or should I? Mom looked at me, tears pouring down her cheeks. After Mandy's dad left, I was completely broke. A really rich couple who couldn't have a baby offered me a great deal of money to carry their child. But as soon as I set eyes on you, my Lily, I couldn't bear to give you up. So I ran away with you both, and I've been on the run ever since, terrified they'd find you and I'd lose you. Me? You ran away with me? I looked at them in shock as the reality set in. My mother was not my mother. My real parents were out there somewhere. My whole experience had suddenly turned upside down. I refused to even acknowledge Mom's existence. She had stolen me from someone and used Mandy against me all this time. Eric convinced me that everything she had done was out of love and I needed to forgive her. Eventually I did, but only on the condition that she'd tell me who my real parents were. I needed to go see them, and they deserved to know what happened to me. My real parents were overwhelmed with joy to see me. I stayed with them for a few days, and they seemed like lovely people. They could give me the life every girl dreamed of, but something kept bothering me. I'm sorry you went through all this, but I have only one mother, and she's waiting for me.